Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. Man, that is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome, everybody, to week 32 of the 2020-2021 PGA season. We have the PGA Championship this week, our second major of the year. Tons to get into. Looking forward to it. Should be an awesome week. It is a late Sunday evening here as we record. The Byron Nelson is now completed. KH Lee with the awesome start Sunday and kind of held on tight as the weather got worse. Then we had to delay, came back. They got to play those last three holes in soft, less wind conditions. So congrats to him. Sam Burns was right there as well. Again, DFS for me, I was sitting, the amount of guys that missed at -5 for me was brutal. That hurt a lot. Would have had a tremendous week had any, two or three of those guys get in. Tom Lewis, Peters, several others. But even with that, still had a pretty good 6 of 6, was over the field, looking really good going into Sunday morning, and all my guys played like crap. Even Palmer, who's traditionally known to play well in those type of conditions, had one of the worst Sundays out there. Got off the track early and never got it back on. Looked like he was going to get it with back-to-back birdies on, I think, 7 and 8 or 8 and 9, and then 4 more bogeys on the back. Not a good week for Palmer. Really hurt one of my best lineups that was actually flirting there in the top 5 for one of the Fantasy Golf World Championship Qs all the way up until the back 9 there. So tough week at the end. Showdown, nothing great. Broke even on Sunday. I think I lost 5% on Sunday or something like that. So I take that, move on. No first-time leader outrights this week. First time in a while for that. Although I did have some subs I saw in Slack last night that bet KH Lee instead of Danny Lee, so they would have cashed those tickets today. I had several questions. Which Lee was it? And I was like, it's Danny Lee. You could probably tell by the odds, but I'll make sure if there's multiple Lees moving forward, I clarify that. So hopefully tonight they're enjoying that. This week, PGA, use the code PGA, get 30% off any package, weekly, monthly, annual. That includes a 7-day free trial. The nice thing about that is if you buy the monthly package today or tomorrow, you get that 7-day free trial. Well, you can buy it anytime this week, really. All the way through Sunday, this promo is going on. So you have, a week from today to get it done, midnight in. You get 7-day free trial. Full site with the 30% off will cost you $34 for a month, or if you want only the content analysis, you don't want the lineup optimizer, the PGA tools, all that kind of stuff, the football tools, all that's included. If you just want content analysis and access to Slack, it's $17.50 a month with the 30% off. I'd say go ahead and get the full site, give it a try. But if you do a month package with your free trial, you're going to get, this is the absolute best time to try this out, the PGA Championship, the Charles Schwab, the Memorial, which is a big boy tournament, Palmetto, which is a new one this year because I believe the RBC Canadian Open, it's replacing that with it being canceled. Then the U.S. Open. Then it'll take you all the way to Wednesday of Travelers. So 6 weeks of tournaments for $34 full site, basically. And hey, this week we don't prove ourselves. You can cancel before your week trial is up, and you never get charged anything. So absolute best time to come try us out. Also, use the code PGA. You get 40% off any gear in the GC store. We just sold out of 2 items last week. We're trying to get rid of. There is a couple of these left, a couple of these polos, a few U.S. Open shirts, and 30-ish, 40-ish HV3 shirts. I want to sell all that out this week. Big major blowout. Let's get it all sold out. We get all that sold out. I'm going to bring some new gear in, including other stuff that you guys have recommended, especially the Slack guys have had some awesome suggestions. So let's blow that out. 40% off PGA. If you are a member, I put a special discount code for you guys. It's even better. in Slack this morning, so make sure you check that out. Rate and review us on iTunes. I told you I'll be doing the big giveaways on Wednesday, and you can get in by rate and review us. You don't have to be a member. I will be doing random giveaways tomorrow and Wednesday, but one of those big winners will come from rate and review us on iTunes. If you've already done it and you just don't remember, or you can't, go ahead and do it again. If you're on the list, you're on the list. You stay on there. Go ahead, bump us up 5 stars. Appreciate that. Subscribe to us on YouTube and like this video. I will do a giveaway tomorrow. I may do Tuesday tidbits tomorrow evening because we're a little ahead of schedule with the pricing. But when I do Tuesday tidbits, whether it be tomorrow or Tuesday, I'm going to give away stuff for people that subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, and leave a comment on the video for who you want to fade in the 10K range. And that'll be a giveaway on Tuesday Tidbits pod as well. Listener League, it is up. It is the biggest ever. 750 entries, 3 max, 1K to first, super flat payouts, limited rake. Let's fill it up quick. Let's show them what we're all about. Come help us. The link will be in the description of the pod. Let's fill this up by early Wednesday so we're not even sweating that. Last week's winner, DJ Horseman, 680.5, 21-point victory. Amazing team. I hope he had that and a bunch of other stuff. Berger, Schwartzel, Zalatoris, Mitchell, Clark, and KH Lee. Great build. Hope he made a lot of money on that this week. Course preview, why you guys are all here. We're at Kiawah Island Ocean Course, hosted the 2012 PGA Championship. As always, I will direct you to my boy Kenny Kim and Tambo. Kenny Kim will have a great breakdown on their podcast. I actually saw a tweet a little while ago. I think they're going to drop tonight or Monday morning. He will also put a breakdown on the site, and any additive premium content will be updated Wednesday. So I'll just give you my basic breakdown of how I went about, starting to attack this thing early with us getting pricing out. Almost $7,900 yard course, Pete Dye track. Like I said, the biggest deal for me, which I think a lot of people, I don't know if they're going to or not. I'm interested to listen to pods. I hadn't really even started because I try to stick to my process on major weeks. I know a lot of people chomp at the bit, but I think sometimes you can get quick into your head thoughts before you've digested your process on weeks when pricing comes out early and everybody's talking it up. I stress it to the premium members, like, go through your process still. Like the tournament ain't starting no earlier. I know pricing came out, but tournament doesn't start till Thursday. So let's not just jumping in everything out to be early. That's not important to me. To me is to get good content out for you guys. In 2012, this was actually my birthday week. I remember it. This was the second week of August. So it started August 9th and ended August 12th. That's a big difference in how this course will set up from August to May, in my opinion, and everything you read. Doesn't mean it's going to play any harder or easier per se. I think the winds, I don't think it'll be as dry. I think you're going to get a little bit, softer course than what they would have saw in August back then. And then the winds, how's that going to play? More winds, less wind. That's probably the biggest question mark. I was reading an article earlier, and this quote from the head there: other than the additions of a few tee boxes, replacement of 4 trees, including the Rory tree where he lost the ball, and a restored waste area, the layout the players encountered during the 2012 PGA Championship will be very much the same as 2021. Gerard says no other changes have been made to the ocean course. So as far as layout goes, very familiar to what they saw in 2012. And if they've been playing it a lot from them, the guys that live in that area and stuff, nothing major changed. The biggest deal is going to be the time of the year. I think May will play a little softer, not as, I think the greens won't be as, on fire, burnt out per se, as it would in August. It is Seashore Paspalum grass, which is a cousin to Bermuda. So, but it's completely salt tolerant, which helps around the ocean. I'm doing blends because there's not a lot of data on Paspalum per se. So I'm doing blends with that and Bermuda when I'm looking at putting this week. I think Bermuda would be the closest that gives us the most data, especially being in May. I have heard being in May will help, be closer to a Bermuda fill than what anything else we can look at, statistically. Probably would be slower than normal, mainly because of winds. But I don't. When we get to the minute, I don't think the winds are going to be a big deal this week. So I'm interested to hear pressers and all that kind of stuff about how they think the greens are rolling, how they think they are around, around the edges and all that. because I think you can putt around the edges here at times. We've seen that. So that'll all be important, listening and watching. Of course, it's a major, so we have tons of coverage to pick up on that kind of stuff as we head towards, the Tuesday, Wednesday deep dive and premium content stuff. We know it's going to play long. Hitting the fairways are going to be important. You see the statistics of guys that hit the greens out of the fairway versus out of the rough. And the wind will make or break the scoring at this course. We saw the huge swing in 2012 on Friday. So round 1 was 73.3, round 2 was 77.6, almost 4 strokes harder. Round 3 was 72.7, round 4 71.6. Those that made the cut, their scoring average on the week was 72.68. So right now the weather looks awesome to me. I don't really see, there's a little bit of wind, a stronger wind Thursday morning-ish right now. Nothing crazy though. And then no rain, perfect weather all the way through Friday. The strongest winds actually look kind of like Sunday-ish. So, but nothing crazy like we saw back in the 2012, at least, as we sit on 5 days out from the tournament. So we'll take a look at that. If we start seeing a huge wind factor, especially pre-cut, we'll have to factor that in, no doubt, and how it'll play. I just think the wind naturally makes this course play difficult. And I think it brings in, I think this is going to be huge this week, because if there's not a lot of wind, I think the overemphasis on the short game and around the green and scrambling is going to maybe be to a positive for those that, like myself right now, I'm not going to weigh that as heavy, because the wind blows that ball around and it makes it tough to hold on the greens. And if that's not there, we saw pretty good scoring. The cut was +6 in 2012, but if you look at round 1, there was the T70, which is a T70 in ties, not T65 in ties. The T70 was at +1 with 87 guys were +1 or better after round 1 in 2012. So without that crazy Friday, I'd lean to the cut to being around +2. I don't see a +6 type cut. 65 guys were at even or better at the end of round 1. So if we're not going to get a big, huge, crazy wind day, and especially pre-cut, I think the industry may lead itself to going to play super tough. This course is crazy. And while it is going to play tough, I have cut at +2. I have the winning score at a -11. I do think when you look at the scoring, I took the scoring averages of guys that made the cut for the first, third, and fourth round combined. And while Rory still would have won, it would only have been about a 5-shot win, and you would have had a lot more guys up around that 7, 8, 9, 10 under than what we saw. So unless we start seeing massive wind changes, which we can, right? It's right off the ocean. We can see it can change in a heartbeat. That is going to be a big key on how you look at stats. It's also another reason not to get so locked into, this is my model, these are my players, I'm in. Because if by Tuesday night, 48 hours from now, we're seeing a big wind on Wednesday or on Thursday morning or all day Thursday or Friday, well then, yeah, we got to go back to around the green is going to matter more. Hitting the fairway is going to matter more. All that kind of stuff has higher emphasis. But as of right now, I just don't see it. I think the course is going to play great. I think the weather looks for 90% of the week awesome. So I'm just not going to factor that a whole lot as we sit here very, very early in the week. There's been 20 multiple-time winners for the PGA Championship, including Rory and Brooks. Both are in the field this week. The last 10 or so, we've seen Keegan. He won. Rory, Duffner. Duffner was in a playoff with Keegan in 2011. Rory again, Jason Day, Jimmy Walker, Justin Thomas, Brooks, and Morikawa last year, of course, in San Francisco. So, it's hard to look at all those. Really, when you're looking at the course fit stuff, especially what I did, I just went and looked at a lot of the comp courses that I felt were going to play as close to what this does. Longer, harder, challenging type courses. Key stats for me this week, I'm looking at great drives, which Stat on Our Tools looks at not only length, but pulls in a blend of the accuracy that I think matters this week. We know that for sure. Regardless of the win, I still think being in the fairway is going to be advantageous. Ball striking, great approach, fairways and regulation, bogey avoidance, and strokes gained around the green. And, those last two, I've downgraded some. And when I redo the model Monday, once we pull in the Byron Nelson stats as well, I will probably remove around the green for now, unless I take a look at and kind of bring in either a stroke gains irons or something with blends around the green and approach or something like that. Because I just don't want to isolate that as of yet with the way I'm seeing the course set up. Obviously, okay, we got 6 in the 10K range, 8 in the 9K range, 11 in the 8K range, 36 in the 7K range. I do think KH Lee, who will now be added, could be the one guy that they add to the 7K range. So could be 36, 37, whatever. That'll leave the 6K range with around 94 guys. I have instantly taken 40 guys out. So I see it's a 156-man field. I got 116 guys that I'm even remotely looking at. Why does that matter? So, I mean, so you got the PGA guys that are PGA, like the PGA professionals, not PGA pros, that'll be in here. That's around 20. Then there's several other of these guys that get into here by winning certain tours, Asians, all that kind of stuff that I just won't have any part of. There may be 1 or 2 I plucked and I put in from here or there, but for the most part, those 40 guys was kind of my number. That leaves us T70 and ties. Remember, this is the one that still hung on to the 70 and ties. 116 guys-ish, whatever. If you delete 30, instantly 40, I'm going with 40 guys that remotely won't even be in my radar. That's 60% of the field, what I'm calling the field, that'll potentially make the cut. And if it's higher, 80 guys, we could see a lot. What'll be ironic is you could see, let's say you get 80 guys in here on T70 and ties, that's 69% of what I conceive as, 100, what I see as a field, 116 guys making the cut. Yeah, there'll be 1 here or 1 there that may make it, but by and large, of guys that I think will be playable in DraftKings for the majority of people, I think it's going to be around 115 to 120 guys. So I see it a lot closer to a Masters limited field than I would a big field. It is a little bit bigger than that. I think the Masters was mid-90s this year. So reason being, 6 of 6 is going to be massive this week as far as you always need as many 6 of 6s, but I don't see, unless we get a couple chalk guys, which you could. I mean, it's a very tough course. I think you're going to see a 10, 15 plus percentage on 6 of 6 just based on those numbers. How does that factor into gaming and strategy? There's several different ways, and we definitely get into that to the deep dive stuff. And I have an article going now where I'm going to talk about that when we're talking about MME specifically, builds and strategies, and gaining leverage on the field, the milli maker, stuff like that. But I do think that's relative information. Sweet 16, as always, we always add a bonus 2 or 3 during the major week. So typically it's top 3 and then a bubble boy. I go with my fade of the week, sleeper of the week, gut fill plays, and then 5 that pop and 2 long shots brought to you by Monkey Knife Fight, and then a little one and done, and we get out of here. Tons of content all week long. Like I said, I may do the Tuesday tidbits a little early. If nothing else, it'll be out early or Tuesday than what it normally is because we're just ahead of the week with the salary coming out and whatnot. Again, don't want to rush and everything. Then we'll have the Wednesday movers and shakers. I may have a premium content only pod as well on some strategy stuff for our subs. Kenny, Kim, and I will be live Wednesday afternoon for E9. And we'll take you all the way up to lock on Thursday morning. Looking forward to it. So let's get started on our player picks for the week. 9K and above. First one's easy, unless I have some kind of weird concerns with injury, the knee or whatnot, it'll be DJ. Number 1 in my course fit model. Second, the last 2 years of the PGA Championship, Bethpage and TPC Harding. At his price and where he is and everything, I don't see him being very high owned at all. I think it'll be a good leverage play. I'm obviously a big DJ homer, so you can take that for what it's worth. But at a major championship with that guy and a place where he's driving the ball, he went through a little slump, but driving it well right now. I like DJ there, at 10-9. It's just simple for me, unless we're still here. And I mean, he's going to be one of the guys interviewed, no doubt. So we can figure out how bad was the knee. Is it bad? Was just precaution because you had the PGA coming up? Could you have played last week if you really needed to? Blah, blah, blah. We'll kind of fill all that out. If he's like, nah, man, it's bothering me. Then a different story for me. But I assume he either just didn't want to go to the AT&T, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't, he was having too much fun on the boat, or it wasn't terrible, but he didn't want to risk anything with the PGA being 2 weeks away. We'll see. Second for me, and a guy that I loved early in his career. No one was really on him. I won 2 outrights with him. But then he's turned into a lot of chalk lately. I don't know where he's going to fall in this week, so a little worried about it, but it's Schauffele. He's number 3 in my overall model, 17 in the putting ranks, 10th at TPC, 16th at Bethpage, 35th at Bellarive, second in my overall stat model. So, recent form, he's 19th, or 14th at Wells Fargo, and 3rd at the Masters. Price down, can easily start some good builds with DJ Schauffele type. So I just like it. I like it a lot. A guy that I've avoided, I do think with some of the stuff and the way the builds are going to go, and I think Hovland will pick up a lot of steam. Like, I'd rather, if that comes to fruition, I would rather pay $300 up to Schauffele than play chalky Hovland, who, although has improved greatly around the greens and all that, it's still one of his weaknesses. And he's 71st in great drives for me, Hovland is, whereas Schauffele's 13th. So Schauffele's 3rd in bogey avoidance. Schauffele's 20th in great approach. So a lot of things I like about him this week, and I just made up my mind probably 10 minutes before I went live and said, all right, I'm in. I've avoided him for a while. I'll get off chalk elsewhere. I'm riding Schauffele this week, which probably means he missed the cut. Sorry, Nagels Bagels. Rahm, 10-5 is my 3rd pick. I'm interested to see where people go. Miscut, burned at Wells Fargo. Did make the cut here. Finished decent today. Nothing crazy, but, had that break with the baby and all that. Now he's got 2 tournaments under him, 6 rounds. For the price, though, you're $300 more for Bryson, who we know Bryson is going to be talked all about all week long. $800 cheaper than JT, $1,000 cheaper than Rahm. I just don't see on any given week that he's that much less equitable to top 5 than those other guys, especially JT and Rory. Rory's going to be, a one that I'll get to in a second, but, all things considered, I like Rahm right now. I'll kind of see, that's one that I'm looking at the pulse of the industry to see where I go there. I don't want a bunch of chalk, but if it's Rahm or Bryson right now, for me, I go Rahm. I don't think I'll play both because of the way I'm going to go elsewhere, but that'll kind of be a last pivot, kind of see where the ownership goes. Rahm's number 1 in my stat model, number 2 in my overall model. Not much to hate there at all. My Bubble Boys this week, I'm doing 2 for y'all. It's Rory and Brooks. Rory, because I want to see the ownership. I just don't – highest price, but he's coming off a win, and he's the defending champion at this course, albeit, 9 years ago. That'll still be any – but he he killed the course. The field. He won by 8 strokes, I think. All that talk up, he generally was a high-owned guy forever. He went through a little quote-unquote drought, but all that considered – I hope he really gets chalky, because I would love to fade him and just be like, all right, he's the highest priced, one of the highest owned, top 3 in ownership. I'll just fade that and hope it works out for me. Albeit he can win this going away. I still have my questions with him, putting and all that kind of stuff. Like at 11.5, he's gonna have to top 5 this, at least DK scoring to get you there. But my other Bubble Boy, which isn't much because I think he's gonna be super low owned. But it's a major championship. I'm going to go with Brooks. I'm going to have some Brooks. Probably be less than 5%. So getting much of him is not horrible. His last 5 PGA championships, a 4th, a 13th, a 1st, a 29th. So he's a big boy, big game hunter. And I know he's not coming in any kind of form, but he is driving the ball well still. So if he can do enough, and this isn't going to be a runaway tournament where you have to score 20 under, maybe he makes a tough cut, gets hot on the weekend, has a low round, and is there. But at 9,500, I can withstand him top 10ing. He also is another good pairing. When I talked about Schauffele, he's 100 less. Both those guys with a Rahm or a DJ or something. Can I take Rahm, DJ, Brooks, and Schauffele and do some multiple pairings there to start some builds? Yeah, I love that, and I don't mind that. That going that way at all. I can start with Brooks and Schauffele as well, 2 9Ks. Doesn't mean that's all I'm playing in those areas, but those are my favorites as we sit here. 8K range, a little bit easier range for me. I feel pretty good at where I'm at there. The biggest one, is going to be, where as far as chalkiness, because there's some that are close, but I think Finau will be, but how much? Don't know. Scheffler is my first play, 15th overall, $8,500. I don't think he's going to get talked up a whole heck of a lot here. 4th at TPC Harding last year, 18th at the Masters, 29th at the Valspar, 19th in my stat model. He can get it off the tee. He's 21st in grade drive, so bring that accuracy into it. I think that's a plus. Sometimes a little shaky with the irons, and that's probably what we have to risk reward here. But I think he's better long iron than he is some of the short irons. So, he's one I got marked to deep dive, but I do like him at his price. Berger, obviously, when I ran this model, it's not going to have any of the stats from this week or today where he stormed the field, played tremendous. Probably my one regret from this week was going more Brooks over Berger, hindsight, but that's pretty easy to look at. Done okay mixed match results at PGA Championship, 73rd, a miscut, a 12th, a 71st, a 13th. So I just like him in general. I don't know if he's one of those guys I was like, where are we going to see his ownership now that he finished tremendous on Sunday today and he's $8,700. I don't think he'd been priced up too much more than that, even with what he finished finding third today or something like that, second or third today. But I like his overall game and where he's at, trending upward. Missed the cut at the Masters, so maybe that's a negative side. But in all, I like him. Again, the iron play can be worrisome sometimes, but I don't think it'll be super high owned in this range. So it could be a good leverage play as well. Willie Z, rinse and repeat for me, $8,800. Very quietly again, he comes in and finishes great on the weekend. Best in the field, tee to green, I believe. Couldn't putt. But that's just his thing, right? If he putts well and can do it, he'll be there. He'll be right there on Sunday. But even not, he tends to still backdoor top 20 all the time. And at $8,800, if I get a top 20 in DK scoring with him, a guy that can put it out there, a guy that can get streaks and potentially an eagle if there are any eagles to be had, scoring wise, I like him. So I'll go there, and I hope people are on the fade train with him. But it is what it is. I like him a lot. Bubble Boys for me is Finau, really because I got to decipher where the chalk is going to land and where I want to move from it. Hovland's one and Finau's one that I think are going to be high owned. I don't necessarily want both those guys. Right now, I would probably rather eat some Finau chalk and not Hovland, but we'll see what that kind of gets to by the time we get to Wednesday. And then Sungjae. Sungjae's a hit or miss, and that's why he's on the bubble for me. Like he's 13th at RBC, 29th at Valspar, missed the cut at Wells Fargo and the Masters, has missed the cut the last 2 PGA Championships, a 42nd at Bellerive. But $8,300 kind of accounts for some of that. Like he's either going to be really good and probably sitting there top 20 or better going into Sunday, or he could miss the cut. He just seems like his game goes that way. I don't hate the price though at $8,300. But that's why he's on the bubble. And Finau's on the bubble just because of ownership. I want to see where we're at there. I like Finau a lot this week, but you can't eat too much ownership, especially talking big MMEs like the Millie Maker. 7K range for me, Corey Connors. I assume he's going to be super chalky. He's one I'm going to have to pencil in and just go with it. I think we hear some over and over, he's putting all of a sudden. We don't know why. Well, yeah, you do. If you listen and talk and listen to him and see him, he said, I went through a major putting change in the late fall and it's working for me. Like he's changed his game. He is putting well. I don't think it's a fluke. Like if he didn't say nothing, we could just say, he just found a hot putter, but he changed the entire way of how he was putting. At least worked on it with a new coach and has been doing that since late fall. So it's not a shocker to me. And I'm willing to ride it. I mean, he's number 3 in the recent form field for me going into this week, 17th in stat model. He can hit irons as good as anybody. We know that. It's a ball striker's course. We've already heard that. Why not, Connor? 7,600? Yeah, just make a cut. It's huge upside, top 10 upside. So I like Connors. I assume that's going to be a popular opinion, so we'll have to see where that's at Wednesday. But I like Connors a lot. Siwoo, I'm interested to see if he gets some steam just because of the Pete Dye narrative. I like him. I like the number 100 to 1 this morning. It was 66 pre-week, so now you get the adjustments coming in. I've already seen a couple of adjustments. So if a lot of people don't know, a lot of times these fields get set. They don't add anybody in. Then once they get to what they call game week, I guess you would, like NFL style, they'll reset all these guys. A lot of times there's not a big change, but this one, there were several guys when I ran this Saturday, that wasn't even in a lot of the odds deals. They weren't in the preset ones, kind of like what they would call a future bet, because it's outside that game week. Or guys like Siwoo, he's 66-1, because probably when they said that was maybe right around when he won, all that kind of stuff. But I've already seen a couple tonight that he's 100. So if I can get him 100 or more, that'll be my free bet of the week. We'll take that and hope we don't get a lot of chalk with him with the Pete Dye narrative. He is a tremendous Pete Dye player. He played good at this week at Valero. AT&T Byron Nelson. He's got good form coming in. I just like him in general. He's longer than you think. So if he can hit fairways, I think he's going to be there and be contention. 7,200 is a great price. So I'll go see Woo at 7,200. Next one maybe is one where I may get over on the field that people might skip over. I mean, tremendous Valspar week. He's 17th in recent form overall, 16th in my stats, 31st in course fit. It's Cameron Trangali. I was kind of surprised. He's 55th in the putting splits for me, so that's not horrible. He's 10th in my overall model starting out. I'll take that. I don't think he's going to get talked up a whole lot. We'll see. Maybe I'm way wrong there, but I like Cameron Trangali, 7,100. The next two I like. I want them in my pool, but I do think we're going to have to be up against how much chalk is there with these guys, which I hope they pull away from a Connors type, because I like Connors better than these two, but I want to see where this ownership falls in this 7K range. And it's Matt Wallace and Paul Casey. Like them both inside my top 15 in my model. I just don't think I can go into the week on a big MME and have Wallace, Casey, and Connors. I think ownership will be had with all three of those. I lean that Casey will be talked up and played the most, so maybe it's a Wallace Connors that I go with, something like that. I will probably only have two of these three, unless some reason Wallace he's probably the less known of all three. But a 19th at Bellerive, a 3rd at Bethpage, a 77th at TPC, nothing crazy there. 10th in the recent model coming in, 34th and 18th in the 6th, his last 3 tournaments. So I like him a lot. Casey's just, you can't, he's 7th in my model. So there's nothing to say about that. A 10th, a 13th, a 29th, and a 2nd, the last, with a miscut in there, his last 5 PGA championships. I just hope, if he's like the top 3 to 5% or 5 in ownership this week, he's a guy that I'll probably have to move off of, and I'd rather eat. Like, it's weird with Casey and Connors being right there, because I would have thought both of them were going to be up there, and Wallace is only $200-300 cheaper. So maybe it just gets spread out. We can just play who we want to play. We'll have to dive into that as we get closer to Wednesday. 6K range, HV3's first for me. Plays, good at majors. Our PGAs, 36 at Bethpage. Remember, he was in the final group with Brooks that day. A long, hard course in itself. TPC 29th, so last 2 good. He had a 2nd at RBC. He did miss the cut at Wells Fargo. He's 58th in putting splits, which for him is good, because putting is his weakness at times. Stat-wise, he's 10, which is going to be pretty familiar. He's pretty, always pretty good tee to green. He does have good long irons, so even if he needs to lay back some to ensure he gets in the fairway, he's got some of the best long irons in the field. At his price, you just need a made cut. I like HV3 this week. Thomas Dietrich is another guy I like this week, 6,600, a Euro. Not a lot of history here, but when we start looking at, he's 7th in my putting model splits. Limited data, but I still like it. 25th overall in stats. He's a guy I got on my radar. Stuart Sink, we've seen the improved driving distance. That helps him. He's 42nd overall in my ranking, so nothing crazy. The form, really good coming in. 12th at the Masters, won the RBC, 37th at Wells Fargo. I just see this. He had a 4th at Bellerive. That's the only time he's played the PGA in the last 5 years. I just see him in his form and where he's at, being able to hit fairways, have the club he needs in his hand, and if he can hit a lot of greens, it gives him a chance at this course. So I don't mind Stuart Sink unless he gets popular. I won't play any popular 6K guys this week. I don't think there'll be any over 9% owned, so it's not too big of a deal for me. The 2 guys that are the bubble boys were the 2 guys that hurt me the most on the -5 number, and that is Thomas Peters and Tom Lewis. Limited data there from both of those at times. Peters has played the PGA Championship, 4 out of the last 5 years, had an 86th, a miscut, then a 6th and a 23rd. I like the 23rd at Bethpage. Very limited number. So you're going more off of what you watched them between Euro and that. Tom Lewis, same way. Maybe both those guys heartburned enough people they're not really looked at. Lewis, I do like. He surprised me. He's 16th in great drive and 34th in ball striking. So at 68 and 6,400 respectively, those guys are on the bubble, but I don't mind playing them, especially if they're going to be super low owned this week, coming off the miscut. Fade of the week for me right now is the defending champ, Colin Morikawa. So I really was kind of coming down to who do I, just balancing between Schauffele and Morikawa. I pretty much decided I thought one would be my fade and one would be the guy I go with. Morikawa's not super long off the tee, so that's bothersome. Putting we know comes and goes with him. So if he does have a hot putter, watch out. Stat wise, he, as far as those guys up there that I'm grading, he's 29th, which sounds good, but it's one of the worst when I compare him to the other guys I'm looking at. So Schauffele was second, for instance. He is number 1 in ball striking. So we know his iron game can get there. He can play well, which is why he'll be popular this week, especially defending champ as well. He's got good history good recent form coming in, 18th to 7th. There's just enough there that I have to pick someone. You can't play all these guys, especially the high-priced guys. So he's the one I'm looking at right now. Could change by Wednesday. I will update it if it does, like I've been doing for the movers and shakers. But as we sit here on Sunday night, I'm going Morikawa. Sleeper of the week, I'm going Bubba Watson. I am going to have him right around that 5% number. Could be less, could be a hair more. I don't expect him to be talked up or talked about a lot, but his price is so good. 7,500. I don't hate the betting number either. Probably 80 to 100 to 1, depending on where you're looking at when you wait. 31st in the putting splits. I like that. Form is really good coming in. A 26th, a 13th, and an 18th. Course fit so. He hadn't done great at PGA Championship, so maybe that is part of the reason he keeps that stuff off of him. A 60th, a miscut, and 71st. But he has been hitting a lot of fairway. He's 3rd in great drive, so that brings in accuracy and length. 33rd in ball striking. The rest of the stuff, he's just average to the field a little bit above. But the price, 7,500, like all he has to do is make the cut and give us hope on the weekend. So and I think he's going to be low on, probably sub 7% for sure. 5% isn't out of the question. So great leverage play there. I like Bubba. My other gut feel plays of the week, Neiman, ball striking machine, 29th. Got to play him. Sam Burns, who we saw, he's 35th in my model before bringing the the AT&T Byron Nelson stats in. So only going to improve there. He's 21st in putting splits. Probably not a hotter golfer going into this than him right now. Just playing tremendous, a lot of confidence. He did get 29th at Bethpage. So like that, that's the year that he played with Tiger at the end of the Honda, that round 4 we were there with him. His play got him, that whole year got him into the Bethpage, got 29th. Obviously playing tremendous right now, so I like that. Brian Harmon, a guy I have been playing. He's been not talked about much, been low owned. Did great for us at Wells Fargo with an 18th. He's number 8 in the putting splits here. Yeah, he's not long, so that could be a narrative, but he's number 1 in great approach, number 14 in bogey avoidance, number 7 around the green. So if everybody gets on this big bombers deal, just like they did at Wells Fargo, he's a sneaky guy at 7,400. He finished 18th at Wells Fargo. So remember that? Everybody, we got to have bombers. He did all right for himself there. So 7,400, I don't mind a Brian Harmon type this week. And then P. Reed, Patrick Reed, just never going to pop in models a whole lot because his game's so up and down. But you put him on a big boy course, a tough course, a tough track, a major. 9,100, I think he will have low ownership, which I'll like. I'll always take some of that. He's 9th in the putting splits for me. His last 5 PGAs, a 13th, a 2nd, a miscut, and a 13th. So if he's there and he's in it, he'll probably be in it. He'll probably be top 15 or better, or he can miss a cut. We know that with Reed. That happens. And he misses a cut a lot by 1, I promise you, because I play him a lot. But I don't mind Patrick Reed this week as a gut feel play. Top 5 that pop and 2 long shots provided by Monkey Knife Fight. I will have Monkey Knife Fight coverage as well this week, so you can just take my plays and play them if you want. Use the code GUPS, G-U-P-S, for 100% match up to $50 this week as well. Probably do some giveaways with them. I'll talk about that on Tuesday Tidbits if we finalize that tomorrow with them. But that will get you a 100% match right now, $50. And if you use it, it'll get you in as well. to those giveaways. And I'll have my top plays out for the full tournament, and I'll probably try to do a nightly one again, like I did for the last major at the Masters. A lot of people seem to like that, so we'll do that. So go, you can go to monkeyknifefight.com and use the code GUPS. We have links on our affiliates as well, but simple way is just use GUPS for 100% match up to $50. Top 5 to pop for me. My card could be weird this week because I'm waiting to see. I've seen some early DJs at 16. If DJ gets to 20 anywhere, I'm auto lock bet in. I could flirt with 18. The reason being is I also like Shoffley, and I've seen some early 22s. So I'm going to see where those two shake it out Monday morning-ish, maybe Monday midday. If I jump on them, it changes the card because I'm going to put so much investment into that you're really going to have some long shots outside of that. I like Connors at 80. I like Willie Z at 50. I like Berger at 28. Now, I can't play Berger if I play those other two. It just gets real tight there. But going to wait and see where things shake. I think people will overreact real quick in the morning, tend to a lot, let them move around a hair. Probably have the first set of bets out mid-afternoon Monday once we get settled on that. 2 long shots I like. I've seen early in places, Bubba and Siwoo, I've seen at 100. I already told you if you get Siwoo at 100, that's your free bet of the week. You will be able to find 100, I bet, in the morning. If not tonight, well, I don't know if I'll get this posted tonight. Well, anyways, when you're listening, I'm sure there'll still be 100 out there. We'll be with Kenny Kim, like I mentioned, E9 on Wednesday. I'll have Tuesday tidbits out no later than Tuesday morning. Could have it out Monday evening. Movers and shakers will come out Wednesday as usual. Want to get through all the data and information and deep dive before I go that route. Kenny Wednesday afternoon. I might do a premium only pod for the premium members on some strategy this week. I think that's a thing that we could all use more of, especially talking Millimaker, stuff like that. And don't forget, use the code PGA, get you 30% off, includes a 7-day free trial. Use it today or use it this week. It'll be $34 for 1 month. But with the free trial and everything in, you're going to get the PGA Championship, the Charles Schwab, the Memorial, the Palmetto, the U.S. Open, another major, all the way till Wednesday of the Travelers. So 6 tournaments for $34, all our tools, all our access, all sports. NBA playoffs are coming. MLB's picking up. NASCAR's been straight fire. UFC called the 2 biggest upsets of the night, pricing-wise, on DK on Saturday. Kind of fell off a little bit after that, but he's coming off, 2 tournaments ago, he went 10-0-1. Tommy's been fire over there. College football will be ramping up. NFL will be ramping up. It is the absolute best time to come join us and try us out. We had a ton of people join this week, coming off the hot fire. I've been as hot as I've ever been picking bets. Didn't get it done this week, but we are ready for PGA Championship. Looking forward to you guys. Hope you guys have a blessed week, and I will see you tomorrow or Tuesday. Thank you.